Hi plebs, in this video I'm going to cover some reasons why you might want to use Ignition's WebDev module. Ignition is a software made by Inductive Automation that does SCADA and HMI, and it's actually much more powerful than that. You can build out a lot of screens that you wouldn't think possible with the SCADA system. It's very customizable. It uses a scripting language called Jython, which is very similar to Python. It easily connects to many different database types, and with the new perspective module, it also brings a modern web user interface. Sometimes though, the perspective module isn't enough and you might want to customize your pages more. So that's what I want to cover in this video. Why you should use, or why you might want to use the WebDev module. I have a short demo prepared, but before we jump into that, I just want to quickly state off the reasons. So there are 3 reasons why I got into the WebDev module, and I think you should too. So for the first reason, if you want to make a page responsive, using just perspective, it would take 3 different views. You have your breakpoint view, you have your small view, and then your large view. And for the small and the large view, you would have to build out the same project essentially 2 times. One for a large screen or a medium screen, and one for a small screen like a mobile phone. Another reason why you might want to use WebDev is that it allows you to use custom graphs. I know Ignition and Perspective come with built-in graph components, bar graphs, and different types of charts. But if you want to use more specialized graphs, you would be able to bring in those types of graphs into your web pages. For example, from d3js.org or chartjs.org. We'll look at a couple of those examples. The last reason, at least for me, why I use WebDev is that I can create different types of animations. Whether it be on button hover, I can have cool effects or include 2D graphics or different types of animations in my pages to make the user interface more interactive. So let's jump in quickly. I'll demonstrate those 3 aspects of Ignition WebDev that I like. So let me log in here really quickly. I'm using the Maker Edition. I use this one mostly for development at home, but I do have the full Ignition with the WebDev and the Vision and Perspective modules at my place of employment. But for our purposes here, the Maker Edition is more than enough. So let me open my project. I'll show you to get the WebDev module, especially for the Maker Edition. The Maker Edition is a new version or edition of Ignition that came out this year. I believe it was earlier this summer, maybe early fall. And each person who has an account with Ignition, I believe, gets 3 different licenses to use Maker Edition. This is for non-commercial use only. So you can't use this in a production environment. This is for your home automation projects or for learning at home, which is what I use it for. When you go through the installation process, make sure to choose the WebDev module. I also chose the Perspective and the Reporting and the SQL Bridge modules, but you can choose whichever ones you want. Just be sure to install the WebDev module if that's what you want to learn. So in my WebDev module, there are different types of resources, which we will cover in later videos. I have these 3 files here are all text resources. If you choose a new text resource and just name the file test, you see that you get a brand new file, and here on the bottom there's a drop down with different file types. So this one editor can be used to write JavaScript, JSON, HTML, or CSS code. It could also hold a JPEG or a PNG image, and there are many different file types here, PDF. But let me demonstrate quickly those 3 aspects of WebDev that I spoke about just a few minutes ago. So I actually opened a session. So the first point, remember I said that you can easily create responsive websites, only writing code one time. So this page here, I pulled it off of just a Bootstrap snip website. It's using the Bootstrap library. I used Bootstrap earlier this summer, and I love it because it comes with CSS classes that are predefined, and the CSS queries your screen size, and it'll adjust your components on your screen to match the screen size. So if I open my developer tools for Chrome, hit the F12 key on your keyboard, and then choose this little button here, and you can see how responsive is selected. You can also select a phone size. So for example, you can see what your website would look like on an iPhone 10 here, or on an iPad. Or you can just hit responsive and then resize it and see as the components resize as well. So let me go back out of here. Let me go to responsive. It shrunk, that's why. And you see that as I resize the screen width, my nav bar breaks down and turns into a little hamburger menu. My cards, instead of stacking 3 wide, now they're 2 wide, now they're 1 wide. And all of this is very easy to do. It's just a CSS class that you add to your components. So there's the responsive behavior. It's much easier than building out 2 completely new views that you then have to reprogram logic to, or use some sort of shared function to get a similar functionality. So on this page, I just pulled a couple of graphs from Chart.js's website from the examples page. You can very easily get data points oh, didn't even know I can do that. You can very easily get these data points to plot from your database. And then the last example here is a 2D animation or a graphic, which would look like this. Let me refresh this. I also didn't create this. I pulled this online. If it works. Okay, there we go. There's the little fishy. It's called Mighty Fish. If you Google it, I'm sure you can find it online. You can create animations like this. I'm not even sure how this works. I'm pretty sure it probably uses some sort of library like WebGL. But you can also do something simpler like custom CSS effects. If you Google CSS button effects, you can go to just any number of websites and demo out different effects. So those are also easier to do. But that's it for me. If you want to, you can leave your favorite reasons to use WebDev in the comments below. But I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.